Hi, everybody. Happy Sunday. Hello, hello. Hope you guys are doing good. Welcome to the weekly energy reading. We will start in just a moment. I will go ahead and pause, push a T just for a minute so that we can go ahead and get into this weekly reading. If you are returning, welcome. It's good to see you again. If this is your first time here, hello, hello. Welcome to this weekly energy reading. I'm Soleil. My name is Soleil. I am the Coven Mother of Vision of Dawn Tour. I am the founder and facilitator of the Charm School Mentorship Program, Hoodoo Mentorship Program. I am your weekly reader, and I'm a dope bitch straight up out of Oakland. Hey, JL, I saw that you booked something with me, so I'm going to be reaching out to you before the night is over. I've had a perfectly lazy Sunday, and I've seen emails, but have not responded to them. So I apologize. You will be hearing from me before the night is over. It's so good to see you. I can't believe you're awake at this hour. It's the middle of the night for you. Hello, Nicole. Hello, Dulcinea. Hello, Aisha. Hello, La Balin. Hello, everyone. Good to see you. As you come into the room, say hi. I like this to be interactive. It's helpful for me to know who is here. If you could also press the scale emoji if you are watching from your phone and you have access to that. The scales give me energy. They help keep me balanced. And I'm not going to hold us for too long tonight. I'm going to go ahead and just jump straight into it. We always start with the general reading and then we go through a few specific topics. If you are here because you saw in a group that I take questions from the audience, I do and I will. My request of you is that you hold your question until we are done with the collective or the general readings. And then when it's time, I'll take questions from you. I do have Cash App and PayPal scrolling below. My suggested request of a love offering for a reading is $8.88. I know everybody's in different places or positions. If you have that and can give it, please do. If you don't, give what you can. There has to be energetic exchange. So we'll go ahead and start with the general, and then we'll get back to those details later, okay? Ancestors, angels, ascended master spirits that walk with me, my elevated ancestors. What wisdom do we as a collective need about the week of May 18th through the 24th? If there are any lessons, blessings, challenges, breakthroughs coming our way over the next 7 to 10 days, please give us wisdom around how to navigate the energy, what we need to do to best prepare or protect ourselves, who do we need to be, what do we need to see about ourselves, our habits, and our environments that will have impact over what we experience and learn over this next week. Any wisdom shared is deeply appreciated. I kept wanting to say January. Intuitively, I believe that a lot of us are going to see movement around things we called in or manifested in January, or we will experience the ripple effects of some sort of action, negative or positive, that was taken in January, okay? So be mindful of that over this next week. If you just got here, if you're just spilling into the room, say hello in the comments. I try to keep this as an interactive space, and it's helpful for me to know who's in the room. Quite a few of us are going to be dealing with burnout this week. Quite a few of us are going to be dealing with burnout. The thing about burnout is that it's an opportunity to understand that you have an unmet need, right? And that you are, again, pouring your energy into one space that may be dead, or a couple of spaces that may be dead. And the burnout is happening as a result of neglecting your own needs, right? So it's uncomfortable, but if some of us who are dealing with these feelings can use this as an opportunity to reevaluate where we're putting our energy, what spaces are we pouring our energy into that are dead, this can be a great opportunity for us to pivot and refocus for the rest of the year. Now I understand why January was coming up. Clarify the Five of Pentacles. What do we need to know about the Five of Pentacles? Mm-hmm. And the reason why this burnout is happening, again, because many of us are focused on things that don't belong to us. We may have been, for lack of better words, confused or bamboozled into pouring our energy into spaces and things that serve other people. So if we can use this week to understand that, learn from any losses that may have happened as a result, we have an opportunity to have a reset that not only allows us to be successful for the rest of the year, but to take advantage of any opportune moments, any good fortune that is coming our way, right? So the burnout itself is even information, right? It's a call for you to stop looking at pouring your energy into and evaluating something that doesn't really need your focus, right? It's already in the past. It's already happened. So that suspension, that discomfort, that hangover energy, it's not useless. It's showing you something. It's forcing you to look at something. And what it's forcing you to look at, that burnout, that exhaustion, that discomfort, that dissatisfaction, is forcing you to look at is the fact that you are stretched too thin. You just downright are stretched entirely too thin. One moment. You're stretched too thin. And because you're stretched too thin, you don't have the energy, you don't have the bandwidth, you don't even have the passion or the desire to focus on things that are meant for you. Focus on things to propel you forward. The thing about the Ten of Wands is that majority of these wands don't belong to this man that's carrying them, right? I love the imagery of the Eight of Wands from the Hoodoo Tarot. It shows an older woman, like kind of a grandma, walking around holding all these wands in a sack, right? And this poor little old lady, that stuff don't belong to her. A lot of you guys are trying to carry out objectives, finish projects, take care of things that don't belong to you. And that's a huge part of the reason why you're so dissatisfied. You don't feel connected to these things because it's not your work. So this is an opportunity for you to take control back, Emperor. Take back control and focus of your own life and figure out, okay, how can I not only be disciplined about the execution of my goals, but disciplined about protecting myself so I don't get distracted. I don't get thrown off course by other people's stuff, right? This is about the war strategy, the spiritual warfare of literally navigating your own life. And a lot of us are dealing with burnout because we've gotten thrown off course by focusing on the wrong things, by trying to execute other people's objectives, right? Now, some of us got here because we are trapped in a poverty mindset and we are surrounded by impoverished thinking people, right? You may be surrounded by people who are codependent, who are convinced that they can't get things done themselves. And because of that, they're constantly draining on your energy. You may be surrounded by people who have a poverty consciousness and think that you are trying to do too much. And in part of getting you to understand that you're doing too much, they distract you by focusing on the things that distracts them. Whatever it is, there's some poverty consciousness going on. And that, unfortunately, that poverty consciousness has the capacity to show up as literal poverty in your world, because you're not focusing on what's for you, because you are wrapped up in low vibrational thinking, because you are choosing what's safe instead of taking risks, that risk taking you further along your goal execution, right? This is further confirmed by the Seven of Cups. Some of you guys don't realize and won't be realizing until later this week or the week after that a lot of what you've been focusing on this year doesn't belong to you, right? It's through sitting still and evaluating that you realize, like, oh, I didn't even care about this at first. I got distracted by this because of who I'm sharing time with. I let go of my passions because I'm surrounded by people who told me that those aren't things worth paying attention to. But a lot of it has to do with your environment. A lot of it has to do with your environment. And this week is really going to highlight for you how your environment is making it hard for you to be disciplined, going back to that emperor, how your environment is causing confusion for you, how your environment is making it hard for you to sit in stillness and reflection around what you've already accomplished, what you still need to accomplish, right? Another part of the reason why this is coming up is because we're at the midway point of the year. It may not feel that way for a lot of you guys, but we are 2 weeks away from June. We are 2 weeks away from June. The year is halfway over. It came through like a lightning bolt, I know. Part of you being able to be successful at the end of this, towards the remainder of this year, is being able to cut your losses. That Three of Swords energy, that heartbreak that's meant to teach you something. Okay, you have wasted time. Okay, you have poured your energy into a dead space. Okay, you have been a little lazy and distracted. Learn from that. Recover from that heartbreak. And leave those habits in the past so that you can move forward. And instead of seeing this as something to dwell in, to lose sleep over, to be hurt by, see it as a golden opportunity to train and prepare before the wheel turns in your favor, right? Momentum is about to pick up for many of us. The opportunities we've been thinking about, or we've been praying over, trying to call in since January, we are about to see progress come along for those things. We're about to have favor and opportunity that allows us to engage in execution. That's what the Wheel of Fortune is about. The wheel is about to turn in your favor. What are you going to do to stand on the knowledge that you've gained so that you can take advantage of that divine opportunity, right? So this whole week is one of us coming out of the clouds. We start by breaking out of that hangover energy, that overwhelmed energy. And if any of y'all I've only been hungover twice in my whole life. Shitty feeling, right? And there's a lot of confusion. You can't get your bearings. It feels like the energy is dizzying around you, right? And a lot of us felt like the first part of the year came in like a wrecking ball. It feels like we went to bed in January and we woke up in May. And a lot of that comes from the fact that it's hard to keep track of time when you're invested in everybody else's business, when you are distracted by everybody else's bullshit, right? You're supposed to be focusing on getting your own place, but you wasted 4 months taking care of things for family members, right? Taking on a work project that doesn't belong to you. Some of you guys who have adult children, love y'all down, but y'all got to let these 20-somethings live their life and make their fucking mistakes and figure out what life looks like for you in your 40s and your 50s, right? But you haven't been doing that. And because of that, there is a cost. There is a cost and a loss that comes with being wrapped up in everybody else's shit and not being focused on yours. So this is an opportunity. Again, this is not an energy that's saying you should get further wrapped up in the woe is me of it. This is an energy that's saying, okay, course correct now. Get ready now. Lay down some of those wands now, especially the ones you understand that don't belong to you. Start delegating shit back to the people that it belongs to, so that when things do show up for you, when it is time for you to start winning, you're ready and you're not continuing to be distracted by other people's stuff. This is what Emperor energy is about. Still being in the energy of preparation, even if you don't understand or know what the next blessing is. That's what emperors do. They celebrate through great times, but they prepare when things don't feel great either. And this is a time of preparation. That preparation is going to bring you out of the doubt and the confusion, okay? That is the general reading for this week. Spirit wants me to go into love next. I'm going to switch over to True Tarot for that. I want to thank those of you who sent me new tarot decks. My birthday was a month ago. You guys, I'm probably going to take the wish list out of my comments after this week. I'm thankful for everything you guys have sent. But you guys can stop now. A Taurus turning down gifts is crazy, but I have decks that I still need to connect to, and I want to start using the decks that you guys have sent me in the mail. So I'm going to take the next week or so to connect to those so I can start incorporating them into the weekly readings and y'all can see them, okay? But thank you so much to everyone who sent me something. That was very, very sweet of you. And even those of you who didn't send me decks, some of you guys just sent me dope shit. Like, MJ, thank you for the nail grabber. MJ sent me these little clips that I can use for like the mailbox and the ATM and shit to get things out, because y'all know I'm a nail girly and sometimes I can't make it work on my own. So thank you all for that. You guys have been really sweet to me. But let's look into what this week has in store for us as it relates to love and romance, okay? Do you want to be used right now? Because you're a little jumpy, girl. Let's see. Ancestors, angels, ascended masters, spirits that walk with me. Elevated ancestors. When it comes to love, romance, and matters of the heart, what is in store for us this next week during the week of May 18th through the 24th? Who do we need to be and what do we need to see about ourselves, our patterns, and our environment that will give us strength and mastery when it comes to the areas of love and romance in our lives? Who do we need to be? What do we need to see about ourselves, our habits, and our environments that will allow us to have the experiences of love and be experienced by those we love in ways that make us whole and sustain us? Any wisdom shared is deeply appreciated. 2 cards flipped over. I love those too. They've been really handy. If I was close to my purse, I would grab it and show it to you all, but they are very, very helpful. I have been in the uncomfortable position of having to ask a stranger to pull my debit card out of the ATM, which is very dangerous because you don't know people and somebody could run off with your shit. So I'm grateful to have these now for that. Some of us who are watching this either live or in the replay, Spirit is telling us to put our swords down. And I know some of y'all, that makes you very, very nervous even hearing that. Here's the thing. There are some of us who have experienced difficulties from past relationships. Were they difficulties? Yes. Were they things that we need to be very deliberate with our boundaries around? Yes. In our trauma responses and desires to protect ourselves, Did we turn these battles into outright wars? And are we now walking into new instances or new exchanges like we have to keep those battles up? Yes. Are some of us engaging in hyperdependence as a trauma response? Yes. Was that something that we needed to do at the time to protect ourselves? Absolutely. Do we need to still be doing it now? No. And in fact, being in that energy of trauma-based hyper-independence is the thing that's keeping us from love, right? Five of Swords, right? You may have had a relationship where you felt like somebody was going to walk away with all your peace, where somebody was making the small things into big fights and battles. And that is a reality for a few of us, right? But the downside of that is that we have not been able to leave that in the past. And we carry that fear of being played with, of being taken advantage of. And we wear it like a sense of armor going into all of our new relationships. And it's made us hyper-dependent. And I love that this message is coming through the Nine of Pentacles, right? Because so much of that hyper-independence has saved us. It has bought us success. It has bought us amazing memories and sharpened our skill sets in ways that have really made us improved. But it's also kept us lonely, right? And I think that in our journey of making peace with how we've come to our success, we are ignoring the fact that we really don't want to be that way anymore, right? Some of us is keeping us up at night, right? Some of you are losing sleep and peace because it's like, I've done all these amazing things. I'm such a great person. Why am I not able to find another person? It's because instead of leading with this, you lead with this. People see the armor and the fight capacity before they see all the beauty and abundance, right? Now, here's the thing. Spirit has been trying to tell you this for a while and you haven't been listening. This is a timely message. Your ancestors have been trying to highlight this for you. I'm getting that this is not just a gendered message. This is not just a message for the women. It's for the men too. Some of you guys, especially you men, some of you guys have been minimizing the role of certain women in your lives when they come in because you have such a fear that they're going to hurt you the way that that last woman did or that first woman did. And your ancestors have been warning you for a while. If you don't move out of this trauma-based hyper-independence, you have the capacity to lose, right? The ability to make an impact over your bloodline. What do I mean by that? Some of you guys are going to be so wrapped up in this my way or the highway mentality that you picked up as a trauma response in your dating that you're going to end up being the 60-year-old man that's alone at the lounge or the 50-year-old guy that's alone at the club or the old auntie at church, right? This is why the Nine of Pentacles is in reverse. Spirit is literally asking you, is being tied to your trauma responses worth you not bringing forward your bloodline, you not bringing forward your life path, you not coming together in union with somebody that brings elevation to your bloodline? Is it worth it to you, right? So when it comes to love this week, this is a week where you got to be real about whether or not you have the discipline. Hierophant. The first spread, we got the Emperor, the divine masculine and the material and the physical and the human, right? Now we got the Hierophant, the divine masculine and the spiritual, right? What rites of passage have you gone through? What forms of spiritual maturation have you experienced that are going to elevate you so that you can leave behind these perpetual nightmares? Because that's the thing that happens as a trauma response. We can want to be so right about our experiences that we create dynamics it's confirmation bias, right? If I carry the belief that every woman is only after me for money because I have an ex that fucked me over financially, then I'm going to continue to call in experiences that confirm that all women want is money and that justify me not engaging in strategic dating in a way that's going to let me move my bloodline forward. It's going to continue to feed my nightmares. It's going to continue to feed my suspicions and keep me in this suspension around believing that I can't have what I want, that loss of peace. But do you have the discipline to engage in spiritual maturation that allows you to leave behind these false beliefs, right? Trauma will invert experience. It will keep you frozen in that mindset instead of being an experience that you allow yourself to learn from and move forward from. Some of you all are caught you're frozen in your trauma around romance. And this is the point where you have to Hierophant, have the spiritual maturation. Hierophant is about rites of passage. And some of you guys have to do the deep spiritual discipline work of trusting and letting go so that you're not a victim of your own circumstances. The two cards that fell out in the shuffle, King of Wands and the Hangman, right? Even as I'm saying this right now, some of you guys are tuning out. You're only half listening because you think it don't apply to you. And this Hangman is saying it absolutely the fuck does. And it's not going to be until you sit still and until you surrender to these perpetual patterns, surrender to the fact that there's something that you feel but you don't know, you can't put your finger on, and you allow yourself to have the paradigm shift that you're even going to understand what this is that you keep choosing and perpetuating in your love life. And once you can do this, that's when you have the confidence and the passion to move forward. Because some of you guys are stagnating your own relationships, your own romantic life, because you keep telling yourself, well, I'm just going to get more of the same over and over and over again. Of course you are, if you're turning every little thing that you see into a fight or a battle and you're pushing people away. Absolutely. Okay? So whatever it is you learn about yourself this week, whatever it is the spirits reveal to you about yourself this week, learn from it. Listen to it. It's probably something that they've been trying to bring to your attention for a while. Stop fighting. Stop fighting wisdom. And pay attention to what's being shown to you so that you can go ahead and have that paradigm shift and start having different experiences, okay? We're going to do health and wellness next. We'll wrap up with money. Ancestors, angels, ascended masters, spirits that walk with me, my elevated ancestors. What is the wisdom that we as a collective need about our mental, physical, and spiritual health during the week of May 17th through the 24th? Highlight the habits, practices, ways of being that we need to release, increase, or maintain in order to have good balance over our holistic health. If there are any areas of threat or breakthrough around our health, highlight them now so that we know how to best prepare and protect ourselves. Any wisdom shared is deeply appreciated. Hey MJ, I was just talking about you and thanking you for those clips you sent me at the beginning of the reading, and I was telling him that I got to use them over the weekend when I was running errands. Thank you so much. I appreciate your kindness. I love this. Okay. This is so straightforward. It's actually kind of cute. I'm going to pull some clarifiers over one card in particular. Clarify the King of Pentacles. Sorry, not the King of Pentacles. The Five of Pentacles ancestors. Clarify this Five of Pentacles. What is it telling us about health? Any wisdom shared is deeply appreciated. I figured. Um, okay. So this is a really interesting reading and I love it. I love the timeliness of it. We are literally smack dab in the middle of graduation season, of wedding season, right? So graduations and weddings, at least for the next month and a half, if not more, right? We are going to not only be celebrating the milestones of people that we love or in community with, but what happens when you come together for a graduation? What happens when you come together for a wedding? People start sharing their progress, right? The folks who haven't seen you all year in a couple of years, they want to know what you've been up to, right? So not only does this become an opportunity for you to really celebrate people who've hit some major milestones, the people in your life are also going to be catching up with you and getting a little bit of wisdom and information about what you got going on, right? Here's the thing. Some people are going to be doing this from a place of love. Some people are going to be doing it from a place of pettiness and record keeping, right? Knight of Cups. If you cannot drink in these environments, don't. Or be very, very strategic around who you do drink around, right? This is coming up for two reasons. One, the Knight of Cups is the poet. They have the creative imagination, very similar to the Page of Cups, but different. So there are people around you who, when they drink, they do a lot of storytelling. They get wrapped up in nostalgia. Here's the thing. Knight of Cups plays a lot of mind games. So some of what people are saying may be true. Some of it may be representative of distortions that I'll just say it, they're going to piss you off, right? So that cousin that gets drunk and like tries to make it seem like you were the biggest loser in high school, shit like that's going to make you mad. That uncle that has a few drinks and reminds you of the time that you peed on yourself when you were 3, but they talk about it like you did that shit when you were 15, that's going to irritate you. Make sure that you are the sober one in these exchanges, right? Why is this coming up? Because you want to think about the future. You want to think about the next exchange. And especially some of these younger people that see you lash out or get frustrated, that's going to make you look crazy. Nine of Pentacles is about planting seeds, thinking about what we want to have for the future. So you have to think beyond whatever shit this Knight of Cups person is saying. Another reason why you have to think beyond it is because, again, I'm not trying to shit on nobody's families or friendship circles, but some of us are in families, in communities, and friendship circles that are not as accomplished as we are. Let's be real about it, right? You could be the first person in your family to have a particular degree. You could be the first person in your family that started a business. You could be the first person in your family that traveled internationally, right? And one of the things you got to remember, what do knights do when they feel uncomfortable or threatened? They fight. They fight or they pick fights, right? So if you are there to celebrate someone and your broke ass cousin gets drunk and starts picking at you, you can't be wrapped up in that poverty mentality and respond back. It has worse impact over you in your life than it does for them. Will it feel good? Hell fucking yeah. It ain't nothing like cussing a bitch out that's had it coming for decades. But what do we know about the devil card, and what do we know about feeding our vices? The consequence of it in the long run ends up not being worth it, right? And again, there are young people around you who are watching it. They're not going to understand or have the memory that, Uncle Billy is an asshole and he does this to everybody at a family gathering. They're not going to remember that. They're going to remember, oh my God, my favorite aunt or my favorite cousin, punched Uncle Billy in the throat out of nowhere at my graduation. This becomes a distorted memory that can make that child small, or that young person small, or that person that you're celebrating small. It's not worth it. It sucks and it's annoying, but think about the future, because here's the thing. When the dog barks at the moon, nobody pays attention. If the moon barks back, everybody's going to remember that shit. You are the King of Pentacles. And you may not think about yourself that way. Most of us, we work hard and we are involved in our lives, and we don't go after our goal accomplishment because we want to stunt on other people, right? But you are disciplined. You have achieved some things. And you may be further ahead in terms of where you are than some of your elders or other people in your community. You don't think about it that way. That's another thing about King of Pentacles energy. They're so determined and focused. Yeah, in their debilitation, they stunt, but most of the time they're not trying to do that, right? So do you really want to undo all this work around your legacy, your lineage, your reputation by snapping at somebody during one of these gatherings? It's not worth it. Okay. Why is this coming up in the health reading? You're probably wondering. I will explain to you why this is coming up in the health reading. It's coming up in the health reading for two reasons. First one, I'm going to go back to this Knight of Cups. You shouldn't even be drinking like this around people anyway. Drinking to the point where you don't have control over your emotions. I don't give a fuck if you're doing it with family or not. This is not a time to be matching energy in terms of treating your body poorly just because you're at a gathering. So don't let them drink themselves into oblivion. That doesn't mean that you have to join. That's the first reason. The other reason is over-celebrating, over-consuming alcohol, overeating in the name of celebration is not going to be helpful for you when the celebration is over, because you got shit to do, Eight of Wands. You got shit to do, Eight of Wands. After the wedding, after the celebration, after the gathering, after the graduation, you got to go back to your life. And you can't do it hungover. You can't do it, off of, 8 servings of barbecue ribs one night. Like, whatever the overindulgence is, it's not going to help you. You need your energy. You need your bandwidth. You need to be able to get back into the life you're living after the celebration is over. Okay? So when it comes to health, part of how you be mindful as you are in this season of celebration, with weddings, with family reunions, with graduations, with all these things that happen late spring, early summer, you have to be mindful of your alcohol consumption. You have to be mindful of how you engage with your vices. Because A, it can bring you into an energy where you have unnecessary fights and disputes that aren't going to work in your favor. They're only going to make you look petty or fucked up. But also you have to be aware of your consumption at these gatherings, because you have a life after the gathering is over. You understand what I'm saying? So I hope that this falls in. And Spirit wants me to say one more thing, especially going back to the Seven of Pentacles. It's talking about the Seven of Pentacles and the Five of Pentacles. I want to go back to this. Some of you guys have the reputation of being the successful cousin, or the smart cousin, or the eccentric cousin, or the whatever cousin, right? Who you show up as in that gathering has deep impact over the younger generation. Who you are as a seed that gets planted into your family, okay? Why is this coming up? Because these young people need to see somebody move different. I sound just like my mama, and I hate it, because when she used to say stuff like that, I would roll my eyes, but it's true, right? If The only way that the men in your family know how to celebrate or deal with grief is to drink, right? Some of us come from these families. When we happy, we drink. Somebody get out of jail, we drink. Somebody have a graduation, we drink. Somebody in the family just died, we trying to fucking put together funeral arrangements, but the uncles and the cousins are in the corner drinking. You can only break out of the poverty cycle if you show up differently. So even though, it'll feel good as hell to slap the shit out of that uncle, especially because he's been fucking with you and playing in your face since you were a kid. So little version of you would love to pop off. That's not what's needed for the youth around you. Okay? So that's another reason why it's an investment in the future, not just your future. But if you are really tired of your family showing up that way, you got to be the change. Right? We can't just talk about breaking generational curses and not understand what it means to do it in real time in actual moments. When it comes to your health, this is how this shows up. Super specific, but I know people needed to hear it. I can think of at least 2 of you that needed to hear that message. We're now going to do the money reading and then we'll wrap up for the week. I will take questions from the audience if anyone has them. And then we'll go ahead and wrap up, okay? Ancestors, angels, ascended masters, spirits that walk with me, my elevated ancestors. They want me to use light series for the money reading. Ancestors, angels, ascended masters, spirits that walk with me, my elevated ancestors. What wisdom do we as a collective need about money, abundance, and prosperity during the week of May 17th through the 24th, May 18th through the 24th. Help us understand the patterns, the habits that we need to engage with and evaluate that will put us further in alignment with prosperity and abundance, that will take us out of the spirit of poverty and stagnation. If there's anything that we should be doing to help our money grow, to protect what we have, to cultivate wisdom and discernment, to not only move with wisdom around what we have, but to call in more. Show us that and highlight that first in this reading. Any wisdom shared is deeply appreciated. I love that fell out, but I'm going to talk about it after I'm done with the spread. Being the constant change is exhausting. I understand. Girl, not only is it exhausting, but it's a thankless fucking job. It is a thankless job. There are things that people in my family do now, especially those who are younger than me. They do it like it's always been a trend, and I've never once gotten a thank you or acknowledgement from it. But it's not about that. It's bigger than us sometimes. And it's frustrating to always have to be the person that it's bigger than, but it just be like that. It's like that. I love this. Okay. Absolutely love this. I'm going to pull clarifiers over one card. Clarify the Five of Swords. What do we need to know about this Five of Swords? What is the Five of Swords telling us about our money? Any wisdom shared is deeply appreciated. This is the second time that graduation season and wedding season has come up, and now it's coming up specifically as it relates to our finances. Be careful about overspending on these celebrations, right? Here's the thing. I think, and it's hard to be honest about this sometimes, half the time we just be wanting to buy shit, especially when it comes to gifts and stuff, because it's easy, right? It's easy to go down to the Williams-Sonoma and buy somebody a whole bunch of bullshit that they don't need than it is to give somebody something heartfelt. But in reality, that's kind of what people at these things need, right? Two messages coming up. First off, in terms of general insight around money and prosperity, for those who are watching either now or in the replay, most of this summer, and again, I know this is a weekly reading, but Spirit is talking about literally the whole summer. Most of this summer is going to be spent around us creating the situations and the environments we want for ourselves, right? So having better control over your finances, as well as your actions, understanding how much of a role you have in your financial comfort is going to be at the forefront of our hearts and minds. Now, in terms of very specific wisdom, right? When it comes to this next week and how we control situations, this is not a time where we should be overspending on stuff, right? I'm watching my candle because there's a specific message that's trying to come through and I want to make sure I got it right. Don't trick yourself, because again, magician energy can be trickster energy as well, right? Don't trick yourself into believing that money solves every problem, right? That is one of the worst things you can do to yourself right now. Because if you trick yourself into believing that money solves problems instead of intellect, intellect and strategy, you can regret what you release later, right? There is a tendency to want to overgive, over nurture right now because we are in the season of celebration. And Empress, when she is in debilitation, is very, very self-sacrificial, very over nurturing, will neglect her. It's like she feels like she's not worthy unless she's over giving. Okay? And you can overgive or over purchase or overdo right now in a way that's not going to come back to you and also has no bearing in the future, right? Star card, renewed hope and faith. Most of the people in your life, and the reason why weddings and graduations keep coming up is because graduations are big. You have these young people that are going out into the world and they need support. They need belief that everything's going to be okay. Weddings are a big deal because you have these two people who are coming together as one, and they have to believe and have faith that they are doing the right thing, right? Rather than you overgiving, overspending on bullshit that people aren't going to remember, give them something heartfelt. Pour into them in a way that's going to really give them a lot of hope around the future, right? Think about giving in ways that are much more meaningful and that feed people's faith and hope, as opposed to giving things that are flashy, right? Also, don't do a whole lot of over-explaining. Page of Swords in reverse. Now is not a time to talk yourself into poverty. This is why this Empress is also in reverse. Don't overcommit right now in terms of your finances. Don't over-explain your financial situation to the wrong people. Because not only is it only going to create an environment where you feel deeply unseen, and then you've already just told all your information to people that didn't need it, it's not going to bring you closer to clarity, right? Ten of Pentacles, you have a whole family and life of your own after these gatherings and things are over. And you want to be able to think about the long run, right? I'm sorry, your baby cousin doesn't need a Tiffany fucking tea set that's just going to go on display in their house and they're going to forget where it even came from. What they may need is for you to give them a few $100s in stocks and bonds, right? That's a much better wedding gift that people don't think about, right? So thinking about making sure that you're using your money in a way that sets up for legacy, sets people up for hope, is much more important than trying to be flashy, right? We have the Five of Swords. Five of Swords clarified by the Strength card in the Four of Wands. I love this. Why is this reading, this money reading, talking about gift giving? Because a lot of you guys, especially if you are in a toxic family or a toxic community, gift giving is like a turf war for y'all, right? People gonna get together and talk shit about the gifts after the wedding, after the graduation, after the birthday, after the whatever, right? And for some of y'all feel like the way that you show, I've made it, I'm stable, I have a solid foundation, is by giving really extravagant, weird ass gifts. That's because you are moving from imposter syndrome. And the Strength card is coming up to say, move authentically. Act like your wallet. Act like where you are. Instead of being wrapped up in these weird ass turf wars and unnecessary battles that make you lose the war in the long run, move from a place of personal power and personal integrity. Know who you are instead of trying to prove. That's why the Page of Swords is in reverse. Instead of trying to prove to other people who you are. Card that fell out while I was shuffling was the King of Pentacles, and that's why I got excited. King of Pentacles don't give a fuck. Taurus energy don't give a fuck. They are very deliberate and they are very determined. And even if they are going through a Page of Pentacles moment, that's what it looks like to other people, where it may look like they don't have a lot or they don't have things figured out. They don't give a fuck about any of that because they understand their legacy. They understand the long-term trajectory of what they're going through. They are the embodiment of determination. So no, they don't want to get wrapped up into these weird turf wars of trying to prove things to other people behind the scenes because they know the luxury and the comfort that they're going home to. They know what they're manifesting for themselves in their future, right? King of Pentacles is not just the king of money. They're the king of legacy. They're the king of determination. They're the king of solid foundation. Do you really want to be in a position where you are kicking yourself later because you overgave to try and prove a point to somebody who's not going to be there when you're trying to figure things out later? This is not a time to let imposter syndrome get the best of you. Move with integrity of your finances, okay? You have control over your money. And it's not your responsibility to overspend to prove points to other people. Because those people don't understand your long-term goals and vision, and it's not their responsibility to. Don't get into over-explaining. Some of these people are invested in not understanding. If you understand, move that way. That's why the Magician was the first card. Okay? I hope that that message fell on the ears and the hearts of those who needed to receive it. We are now at the end of the reading. And this is where I take questions from the audience. So I'm going to go ahead and pause to let you guys put your questions down. I gave extravagantly last month when I knew I couldn't afford it. I was definitely not being authentic. It happens. It happens a lot. It's so easy to do. I've had to start using that as a barometer of my friendships because I will anxiety expend, and I used to do that a lot with an old friend that I had, right? I would anxiety spend, and they didn't even appreciate the things that I would give them, right? And they knew that I couldn't afford the things that I gave them. Did they reject it? No, they took it and then talked shit about me behind my back for doing it, right? It's not something that serves. You will end up being frustrated in the long run. It doesn't help. So I think it's interesting because we don't think a lot about finances and authenticity a lot, but we should, because the majority of the ways that we find ourselves in debt and that we find ourselves not having the things that we want is that we do a lot of social spending as sport. What I mean by that is that keeping up with the Joneses, that trying to prove to people that we got it. Why are we proving things to people? But anyway, we're at the end of the reading. If anyone has a question that they would like for me to answer, go ahead and put it in the comments section. Send your love offering. Again, suggested love offerings are $8.88. If you don't have that, send what you can. If you do have that and you want to send more, shout out to you and thank you in advance. But go ahead and send your love offering. Then put your question in the comments section and I will get to you. As you all are doing that, I will go ahead and bring you all up to speed on things that I'm working with. First, I'm going to start with this, not because it's the most important, it's definitely not, but I'm starting with it just because it's the most timely. Sorry, I got confused. Starting with it because it's the most timely. There are 2 more days left in the tourist season sale. I can't believe tourist season went by so fast. It was so lit. I had so much fun during my birthday season. I'm not gonna lie to y'all. It's been yeah. I need to start doing my podcast again because it's stuff that I can't really say here on YouTube. But it's been lit. I will just leave it there, okay? But we have 2 days left in the tourist season sale. It ends on midnight on Tuesday. So if you would like to book a reading with me, if you would like to purchase a coaching session, if you would like to purchase an amulet or my Rich Bear body wash, if you would like to just ask some, if you'd like to purchase classes, this is a great time to do so. If you use the code Taurus, TAURUS, at checkout, you can get 20% off of any order over $65. But this sale ends 11:59 p.m. EST on Tuesday, okay? So you have 2 days left to use that discount code to get discounts on your readings and your purchases. Kodan has agreed to work with me to do another round of the road opening ritual. And I know a lot of you guys have been curious about that. The next round of Rich Beard is not going to happen until the end of August, so that's quite some time. But the road opening ritual will take place the last week of June 22nd through the 26th, I believe. So if you're interested in participating in Pathways to Power, which is the road opening ritual with Kodan, go ahead and click the link below to join the WhatsApp intake group where you can learn more about the ritual, sign up for the ritual, and be ready to join us in significant breakthrough and transformation at the end of June. We did a session where we talked about celebrities that need road opening work before we did the last one. So we may do that again, okay? Summer is going to be busy for me. I have Sacred Alignment Retreat happening in San Diego, July 17th through the 19th. If you want to join us for a weekend of deep soul transformation, learning lessons about Hoodoo and African tradition, and just having spiritual breakthrough with a bunch of amazing women, click the link for Sacred Alignment, my Hoodoo retreat, my annual Divine Feminine Hoodoo retreat, which is happening this year in San Diego. Click the link in the comments to learn more, okay? What else? I know there are other things. Still taking students for study hall and charm school. So if you'd like mentorship, join us. I also have the in-person healing sessions scheduled for July here in Atlanta and August out in DC. Okay, sorry, no, I messed that up. July in Bay Area, California, and August here in Atlanta. So if you're interested in that, feel free to ask questions. I'll start sharing the links for those going into the next week, okay? Can I ask an astrological question? So it depends, JL. If you want to know about, I'll say yes, but not about your astrological chart because I have no way of looking at your birth chart. So yes, you can ask an astrological question, especially if it's about any of the placements that I've gone over in the last few astral hours. So yes, JL, you can. I'm going to go ahead and start with La Balin because she has her question. I got behind after healing longer than anticipated from a difficult surgery. What advice, warning does my ancestors have about going back to work and renewing my lease? Okay, I got you. Ancestors, angels, ascended masters, spirits, walk with me. My elevated ancestors. Ooh. What wisdom does La Balin? They don't want me to use this deck. Ancestors, angels, ascended masters, spirits, walk with me. My elevated ancestors. What wisdom Does La Balin need about returning to work after healing? Is there anything that needs to be illuminated and brought to her attention so that she can prepare and protect herself? What does she need to know about renewing her lease? Any wisdom shared is deeply appreciated. Your question cut off in the comments, Mambo. Can you please retype it for me, MJ? Retype it in the comments for me while I'm doing La Balin's question, and I'll get to you. JL, if you would like to ask your astrological question, go ahead and type it out, and I'll get to you after I'm done with La Balin, okay? You low-key are still healing. It's going to be really important that you not, and I know this is supposed to be a free card reading, but clarify. Two of Pentacles. Yeah, you low-key don't like this job, and I don't think you have liked it for a while. And this happens whenever we are put in a situation where we have to have taken break from our work environments when we work on a plantation or we work for other people. Where when we return back, we realize like, oh, I don't fucking like it here. I don't like these people, right? But we have bills. We have things that we need to do. Your return to your job is going to put a battery in your back to start looking for other jobs. And I say that because we have the King of Wands, King of Worthiness, self-awareness of what he deserves, also deeply motivated to go after what he deserves or remove himself from situations he knows don't serve him, right? So you're going to go back full of vigor, full of energy, also awareness around, oh, I don't really want to be here. Part of the reason why you're not going to want to be there is because jobs don't understand that just because you return, it doesn't mean that you're 100%. They're not going to take it easy on you and let you ease back into the work. They are going to try to overwork you and almost make you catch up for lost time. Even though that's illegal, that is still the logic that they have because they are working from poverty mentality. They were probably overstaffed or did not delegate your work properly to other people while you were gone, which means that you come back to a situation of overwork or having more on your plate than you should have. This puts you into a space of indecision. Should I stay or should I go? You know what you should do, baby. You know, right? Don't sit in this energy for too long. If it feels like it's time to go ahead and leave. Okay? Now, this is all about your job. They didn't say anything about the renewing of your lease. So typically for me, when my cards don't address the issue, it's because there is no issue. Does that make sense? Basically, if you feel like you want to renew your lease, go ahead and renew it. They're not saying that there's any issues around it. It's mostly you being kind of irritated with how your job handles your return, and that irritation being exacerbated by, honestly, a frustration of not wanting to be there in the first place. So that's what I'm seeing, La Balin. Let me know if that resonates with you, okay? Let me know if that was helpful for you or not. I hope I answered your question. JL, Mercury and Gemini meets up with Uranus in Gemini this weekend. I have Gemini in my third house. My North Node and True Node are also in the third house. What does this transition mean for me? I'm going to pull cards, but I'm going to start by talking about what I know offhand. Having all that activity in your third house means that, so the third house is the house of Gemini. So it deals with intellect, communication, as well as siblings. Okay? Do not be surprised if while all this is going on, that you feel like people are playing with your intelligence or that any communication issues you have with your siblings rise to the surface, because that's a lot of Gemini happening on the stage or the house of Gemini, okay? So I think that those are things that you should be mindful of while these transits are taking place. If you did not watch my Astro Hour video from Thursday, I also encourage you to go back and watch it, because we do talk about Mercury being in Gemini and what that means for us. Okay? Now I'm going to ask what you need to be aware of during this transition. Ancestors, angels, ascended masters, spirits that walk with me. What does JL need to be mindful of while Mercury and Uranus are in Gemini? What does she need to keep in mind as she prepares for this transition and as she navigates these big transits that are happening in her third house? Any wisdom shared is deeply appreciated. Two cards fell out while I was shuffling, so I'm just going to pull one more and read all of those as your 3 cards, okay? Communication is going to be difficult for you, and there are going to be times where you feel like people are testing you, but don't fall into the petty disputes and arguments, even though it may feel good. Because the energy you use and the way you get drained from trying to win these small battles and conflicts only distracts you from your longer term goals, right? What does that mean? You may have siblings or family members in your life, community members in your life that show up like siblings, where communication is already fraught, and the nature of that communication feels even more snappy or fucked up during these transits. This is not happening during these transits to make you wallow in pain. It's here to show you that you're actually bigger than these exchanges, right? What do I mean by that? Wheel of Fortune, things are about to shift in your favor. A lot of blessing is about to come into your life. Are you going to choose to be distracted and fall back into your teenage self, your childlike self, in the ways in which these people trigger you? Or are you going to let them have their petty one-ups and move forward and focus on the blessings that are coming to you, right? This is a card, and this is funny because this card came up earlier when talking about this. This is about your spiritual maturity and maturation at this point. Being so dedicated to being able to not let these things, situations, and people have such a spiritual and emotional hold on you is part of what you are meant to work through during these transits, right? And that's why they're showing up in your third house. And so it's gonna feel like you are being spiritually tested. You low-key kind of are, just to make sure that you shake off the last bits of baggage. And Spirit is saying decay. I'm gonna go with it because that's the word they're giving me. Baggage and decay, so that you are ready for what's next in your life. Let me know if that makes sense. Let me know if that was helpful for you. Okay. I did start watching Astro Hour segment. I'll finish it tomorrow. Good. Great. I'm glad to hear that, JL. MJ wants to know. Hold on, La Balin said something. I dug more into my present, past rather than future. I understand. Perhaps the ball is more in my court than I give myself credit for. Okay. MJ wants to know. And Dulcini, I see that you sent a love offering as well. Please put your questions in the comments so that I can get to you, okay? What wisdom do the ancestors have for me regarding this relationship? It's getting on my nerves. Is it for me, or is it time to separate? Ancestors, angels, and master spirits that walk with me, and elevated ancestors. What wisdom does MJ need about her relationship? Her partner is working her nerves. Is it time for them to separate? Or is there other advice around how to navigate these frustrations that she needs at this time? Any wisdom shared is deeply appreciated. Yeah. The biggest thing about Lynn is that I think you should stay where you are. I think you should go ahead and you because it wasn't addressed at all in the reading. And don't let them people overwork you. Do not let them people overwork you. When we return from work after anything related to FMLA, anything related to our health, they're supposed to give us, they're supposed to give you an altered work schedule. They're not supposed to have you doing a whole bunch of shit the second you jump back in. So do not let them people stress you. You got to stand up for yourself around that. Girl, you love that man. You love that man. You were spoiled by that man. There is no one else that's going to put up with your hyper femininity and your. When I say hyper femininity, I mean like you are very girly, MJ, and I mean that in the sweetest. I'm saying that as somebody who is very girly. When you have your feelings, they're very big. Like that man loves you. And you can go somewhere else, but you're probably not going to get the kind of nurturing elsewhere that you receive from him, right? You guys, you in particular, are very impulsive when you get upset. So that's even part of the reason why when you are mad at him, you're like, okay, I need to leave. I need to go. You're Gemini, if I'm remembering correctly, right? You're like, I need to go. Fuck that shit. Page of Wands, the child of a big imagination, the child that's learning how to literally take their passions to create what they want for themselves, right? Instead of creating damage. So this is about you learning how, when you are upset, to communicate with him through it, right? But we also end with the Two of Pentacles, which talks about tightrope energy. So there is a part of you that feels like there's a lot of expectation put on you. You need to articulate that to him. Right? The tightrope energy of the Two of Pentacles can represent feeling like if you say the wrong thing or if you do too much, it leads to some sort of fallout in your life. That is definitely something that you guys need to talk about if that's the reality. But low key, I'm not seeing that this is about you guys learning how to deal with your conflict when you have it. Relationships, I hate it when I meet a couple, they're like, yeah, we never argue. That's not healthy. You're not going to see 1,000% on the same page as other people all the time. And a part of your lesson, your responsibility, again, the pages are lessons. Part of your lesson is to learn how to handle each other when the emotions are big, when the fire disrupts, which is what the wands are, right? So I don't see that this is about you guys breaking up. This is just about learning how to navigate with this particular difficulty or touch point in your relationship. Let me know if that resonated with you, MJ. Girl, you in these damn dreams, Dulcinea. So here's the thing. I'm not gonna stop doing readings on the lives, but I need you guys to understand that there are gonna be times where sometimes y'all ask me stuff that's beyond the scope of a 3-card reading in the live, right? I can only do so much reading around a natal chart that I don't have in front of me. Dream interpretation is something that is really, it's kind of intensive. So I'm not going to give you, I'm not going to say that I can't give you thorough answers, but y'all got to start tempering y'all's expectations. You know what I mean? Dulcinea, I'm going to do my best, baby, but what is the message of the old man dressed in black that appears in my dreams? Ancestors, angels, ascended masters, spirits that walk with me. Tell us who the old man dressed in black is that appears in Dulcinia's dreams. Give us wisdom and information about why he appears. What's his purpose? What's his message? Any wisdom shared is deeply appreciated. If there's any, you good, honey. You're right, Dulcinia. Y'all know I love y'all. Y'all know I love y'all. I just gotta remind y'all sometimes that this is a live stream for entertainment purposes, and y'all be coming in here asking me like super intensive stuff, and I try to boundary set out of safety for y'all. And I don't ever want y'all to feel like I'm trying to, I don't know how to say it, but sometimes the things just aren't even the most safe to do in terms of questions on the live stream. But I also don't want you guys to feel like I'm trying to force y'all into booking with me at the same time. So I will answer, but I also got to be honest about what the limitations are. If there's anyone else that has a question, go ahead and send your love offering. I can do at least one more question after Dulcinia. If not, we'll wrap up with Dulcinia and call it an evening. Ancestors, clarify this Five of Pentacles. Have you been seeing crows recently? He wants you to stop worrying. He is some sort of protective spirit that's been around you since you were a child. He tends to show up when you are dealing with a lot of emotional stress or confusion. Seven of Cups, emotional stress or confusion. Especially when you feel like you are alone or like you are having some sort of battle that makes you feel alone. He shows up to take the burden off of your shoulders and to hopefully bring you some sort of sense of hope or faith. Probably don't feel like that right now because you're like, who the fuck is he? But he has been around you since you were a child. So this is not the first time that he's shown up energetically for you. Crows are coming up for some sort of reason. Crows are coming up for some sort of reason. So pay attention to that as well. But I don't get that he means you harm. I get that he's kind of here to ease certain burdens. Sounds like a female community ancestor. He mentions it to you. I mentions it to, wait, what are you mentioning to me? Okay. I just did 100 home because the sister called and lied and said she. Yeah, take a lemon bath to try to calm down. You mad. You mad, MJ, I know, because of all them damn wands. It was just a 3-card reading. It was mostly wands. You pissed. So try to calm down. But there's something fucked up in you guys' communication that needs to be dealt with. I don't think it's worth breaking up over, especially because, again, that Empress energy is very strong. There's a lot of nurturing that you get in this relationship. And so your spirits really don't want you to throw the baby out with the bathwater. But if the nigga's getting on your nerves, he's getting on your nerves. So y'all got to figure that out. All right, everyone. I hope you all had a good time. I hope you all got the wisdom and the information that you need. Please feel free to share this reading with other people. As I've said before, I really, 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 really want to get my channel to 500. So just sharing this reading with one other person every week when you see it helps me get there. Help us grow this channel. If you're watching in the replay, please leave a comment. Let me know which parts of the reading resonated with you. I'll be back on Thursday for happy hour because we've not done happy hour in forever. And then we will have another weekly energy reading next Sunday. After that, I'll be gone for a week. So if you can show up Thursday and next Sunday, please do, because I will be taking a break for a bit after that, just to spend time with family and be a human. But I love you all. Thank you so much for joining. I'm about to go watch Euphoria. I will see you all on Thursday. We're definitely talking about Cheyenne Bryant. We're definitely going to talk about Tyla and Rihanna. And if you guys have any other suggestions for a subject for happy hour, make sure you put them in the comment section of this video. I do read my comments. I actually delete a lot of comments as well. So make sure you drop by and say something, okay? I love you. I'll see y'all Thursday. Have an amazing start to your week, okay? Go see Is God Is. Watch Is God Is. If you've not watched Is God Is, try to watch it in the next week. That movie is fucking phenomenal, and we need to talk about it as a family. Okay? Love you. See you soon. Take care. Good night.